Hello, friends. This is Matilda, and thank you again for joining me for another episode. So, today I just want to talk about the power of small things because I believe that there are many little things that seem inconsequential, but then they actually make a big difference in our lives. And one of the things that I want to talk about, which Bible talks about in the book of Proverbs, chapter 18, verse 21, and that scripture says, the tongue can bring death or life. Those who love to talk will reap the consequences. So out of this scripture, I want to talk about the power of the tongue. Yes. And like the scripture, it says, the tongue, it has the power of life and death. And so even though the tongue is a small thing, it can make grand speeches. In James chapter 3, verse 5, it says, in the same way, the tongue is a small thing that can make grand speeches, but a tiny spark can set a great forest on fire. And when I read the latter part, it actually took me back to some of the news that we have heard in the past of places like California, where you hear of someone sparked a small fire, and then over a number of hours or days, several acres of land and even thousands of people have to be evacuated from their homes because of that small spark. And so you can imagine if the tongue is compared to something as tiny as a spark, but can set a great forest on fire. That means we have to be careful with the things we use our tongue for. And this week, one of the things that I learned about the things that we say with our tongue is before we say something, we have to think about it. And to think about it means you ask yourself, is what I'm going to say, is it true? Right? Many people, unfortunately, do not verify. Once we see something and it just ruffles our emotions, we just go ahead and repeat it to someone, or someone comes to us and says a gossip, about someone else. And in conversation with another person, you remember, but then we forget to think and ask, is this true, before I pass on this information? The second word is it helpful? Is what I'm going to say going to edify the other person, or is it going to bring down, their emotions? Is it going to discourage them? Is it going to provoke them and make them angry to react in a certain way? So is it true? Is it helpful? And then is it inspiring? Again, you don't want your tongue to be used as an instrument for discouragement, but rather to be used to uplift other people. Also, is it necessary, right? There are many things that we can say or we want to say, but is it really necessary for you to say that? And sometimes even the necessity comes with timing. You may need to say it, but then it may not necessarily be the right time to say. And finally, is it kind? We have to choose to use our words to show kindness to others, because our words have the power to heal. And on the opposite side, it has the power to bring death, literally. And so, again, among all the parts of our body, the tongue is the most powerful, and it can set your world on fire or breathe life into a weary soul. And that is our choice. And that is a great choice, or a great power that we have in our hand. So choose to use your words to uplift. And before you say something with that tongue, remember to think about it. Is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring, necessary, and kind?